Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Fusion Body Studio here on YouTube. We have two brand new classes that just dropped over on our website, our exercise library, and we are so excited because these are the first two classes that were filmed on location at Ashtanga Yoga Atlanta. And we truly hope that switching the filming over to the Shala, to a different space, will help you guys and will help make these workout videos, these exercise videos, way more enjoyable to watch and clearer to see. With that being said, I want to clarify a few things for you guys before we get into looking at the new videos. First of all, I want everybody to understand that the reason why we want these videos to be as clear as possible is because I am not there with you. I'm not there with you to adjust you. I'm not there with you to monitor you, to make sure that everything's moving in the right direction. I'm not there to help you see your blind spots. And that's okay. We can work around that by the use of video. And so that is why I talk a lot in the videos, and I say things over and over again, like watching where your feet are pointing, making sure you're holding your weight like in your heels in particular postures. And that is just so you can start to self-adjust your own self. You can start to figure out where that balance of energy is supposed to be in order to meet the potency and the alchemy of the posture. The human body is very tough, but it's also fragile at the same time. I do not want anybody here to be afraid of injury. Injury is just part of the experience with anything we're doing. You can walk down the street and twist your ankle. That's just part of having a body and having this experience in our body. Now, with that being said, we, as David Grieg used to say all the time, my original teacher, we don't want to be stupid, right? We don't want to be stupid. We don't want to intentionally be sloppy on our mats. We want to try to avoid injury at all cost, but understanding that injury is part of it, because sometimes there's karma involved. And when I say karma involved, especially for those who are new here, in the Western world, we have a very warped view of karma. We think karma is automatically something bad. It's not. Karma is actually neutral. All karma is cause and effect. That's all it is. So in the Eastern philosophy, we literally describe karma as your work. Why you came to planet Earth. You didn't come to planet Earth to sit around and watch Keeping Up with the Kardashians eating French fries or bonbons, right? Even though that's fun and we do that sometimes. That's not why you came here. Your soul decided to create your body. The body is the Shakti. The body is not the soul, but it's the Shakti. It's the template of the soul. So your soul and its infinite wisdom created a body and created a life to help it refine itself. So your soul created certain obstacles, whether that be obstacles just in your life, hardships in your life, or whether that be hardships in your body, intentionally for you to refine yourself. And sometimes what tends to happen with injury is there's this thing that happens where sometimes injury has to happen in order for a pattern to break itself. Now, again, with that being said, that's a general statement. That's a very generalized statement. It's very nuanced in reality. Some injuries are avoidable. And we don't want to be stupid. We want to try very hard to avoid injury at all costs, but being open-minded enough to understand that it is going to happen at some point to all of us. It's happened to me plenty of times. It has never stopped me, because that's just how the human body works. And honestly, my friends, every time that I got injured, and as Cindy says, Cindy, who also has videos on Fusion Body, as she says, all injury is asking you to do is redirect your energy. For example, as many of you guys know, when I broke my sacrum, that is how I discovered the practice of bar. So something that was so horrendous and was so unbelievably painful that, in the beginning, when I broke my sacrum, I was in a state of deep depression. But because of accepting the predicament that I was in, accepting where I was, that humility, when we're injured, we're also in a place of humility. We're in a place of truth, because I had to accept it, because my body was injured. It couldn't do my normal practice, because there was a major injury there, I had to learn to redirect my energy. And that's how I found barre. I used barre as a way, as almost a form of physical therapy to really strengthen my lower back and my pelvic floor. And what I thought was just going to be a temporary experience to establish my body, to get back to my practice, ended up being one of the most life-changing things that ever happened to me. So in reality, I'm very grateful for my sacrum break, because it opened up. I wouldn't be here with you in Fusion at Fusion Body Studio if it wasn't for my broken sacrum. Really, I would not be doing this. And so I am grateful. You know, I say a lot to my classes, like, you can either choose when hardship hits you, you can choose to let it burn you, or you can choose to let it fuel you. It's the same thing that's happening. So whether it's a broken sacrum, an injury, weight gain, whatever it is, that's the truth of the matter. But you choose how you respond to it. You choose whether you take it as an opportunity to redirect your energy and learn more and go deeper into your own psyche, or you use it as something to quit. And quitting never helped anyone, right? So I hope that inspires you to have a different perspective of your body. Your body is very strong, it's very durable, but it's also fragile at the same time. But where it's fragile, where you feel like you are your weakest, is actually where you are your strongest. I know that sounds weird to say, but it's almost like, for example, growing up, my least favorite subject in school was math. I still hate math to this day. I remember being so overly dramatic when I was like in high school, and I would tell my mother that math was just uninspiring. It was so uninspiring. It was like darkness. It was just darkness to my soul. And for me, it was, because I'm very artistic. I am very artistically minded. I'm very philosophy minded. I'm not ever going to be a mathematician or a scientist. Like, that's not in my nature. That's not my perception of reality. But with that being said, my strongest subjects were history and English. I didn't even have to study. Like, I never studied for those tests, because I just would take in the information, and the information inspired me and it stayed with me. Hence why my YouTube channel, Esoteric Atlanta, is mostly deep dives in history. I can do that because I love the stories of history. I remember things about history because I love them. But nonetheless, I was told once that I would probably make a really good math teacher, because I hate math. And math was not something that came easy to me, so I had to learn how to adapt it. And by learning how to adapt it, I gained wisdom. So using that as an example, and they're right, because the worst math teachers in the world, the ones that are the worst, are the ones that really understand math. They're terrible teachers, because they don't know how to teach people who don't get it. And so that there's truth there. So if we use that metaphor, if we use that antidote to look at our own bodies, where we are the weakest in our body, where we perceive to have the most limitation, is actually where we are the strongest. In my body, the weakest part of my body is my back. My lower back is the weakest part of my body. And because of that, obviously I've broken my sacrum before, I've had back surgery before, I have an extra vertebrae, like all these things have really compounded for me having a very weak back. And if I choose to, when I feel that discomfort in my back, my first immediate reaction, still 19 years later, is to run. Like, when I feel that uncomfortableness in my back, I want to pull out, I want to pull away. But through these 19 years, I've learned that when I feel those negotiations in the mind, when I feel that weakness creeping in, I actually need to drop deeper into that, because that's where it's interesting. That's where I have something to work with. Now, for example, my hips, oddly enough, my hips are really open. I've always had very open hips. I could do practices all day with my leg behind my head, and I would love it. I would love it. It feels good to me. But because I don't struggle with that, because I embrace that, because it feels good, there's nothing I can really learn from that, right? I already enjoy it. But where my real learning, where the real yoga comes for me, is in my spine. And it's going to be different for every person. Some people are going to have really open, strong backs and tight hips. Some people are going to have a really strong core, but weak legs. That's just your karmic makeup. Everybody has a place in their body that's weak, and everybody has a place in their body that's strong. And where your body is strong, that's not what needs the attention. What needs the attention is the weakness. And through that weakness, there is wisdom. There is something to learn. There is something to sink your teeth into. There's juiciness there. That's where it's interesting, right? Like the emotions that come up with that weak spot are where things get interesting. Okay. And for me now in Atlanta, Georgia, I'm known as one of the best backbending teachers in Atlanta, Georgia, because I've had to really work on that myself. Okay. I've had to really dive into the power of the spine to embrace it, and so I embrace that. And I hope you do too. So whatever's going on with you, whether that's autoimmune issues, whether that's weight issues, whether that's lethargy issues, don't run from that. Don't be ashamed of it. We all have our crosses to bear. Rest into it. Lean into it. Don't let it rule you. Don't let it dictate to you how you live your life. Don't feed it, but learn from it. The more your heart breaks, the more the light can shine in. The more you look at these parts of yourself that are weak, the more they get exposed to the light. So the more that they can heal themselves, right? The sunlight. Think about the sunlight as healing. Exposing these things, not ignoring them, not running from them, but looking at them is what brings light, healing into the matter. And don't ever think that you are, not a good student because maybe you're, some people I know feel like they're not athletic. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You can be the sloppiest person in the studio. That it doesn't matter. We're not performing here. There's no performance going on here. You're not going to be on stage at Carnegie Hall. I think one of our students, Jenny, is probably one of the few people who's actually been on stage and had to perform. And there is a difference. We use things like dance to inspire us because the shapes that dancers make, the way they use their bodies, the way they move their hips, there's information we can learn from that, from a spiritual place or a psyche place, a mental place, an active meditation place. But we're not interested in performance. I'm not interested in that. No one's paying you to be on stage. You're not auditioning for Cirque du Soleil. You are literally in your home and you are literally experiencing your own karma. So don't worry about being uncoordinated. Don't worry about, having a hard time catching the beat. If you keep practicing, that will get better over time. Don't worry about being athletic. No one is judging you. As a teacher, I have seen everything. Trust me, I have seen everything as a teacher. Some of my most favorite students here in Atlanta are the ones that are so unathletic. They have such a hard time keeping with the choreography. They have so little body awareness, but they're my favorite students because they try so hard and they're aware of where their faults are. And they come every single week and they dig into it and they're funny about it. And that's interesting to me. The student who has the perfect practice with no faults, that's boring. That's boring. What can I learn from that? But as a teacher, I learned from the students who struggled. I'm still learning. We're always in a place of learning because that's where there is something to work with. So never be afraid of injury. Never be afraid of limitations that you perceive you have in your body. Embrace it, lean into it, work with it. We don't work against injury. So if you are injured, we will modify. We're not going to make the injury worse. We're going to course correct the energy and modify. But beyond that, I don't want anybody to be afraid of that. I also want to, again, say to our new students, I get this all the time. It's supposed to be uncomfortable. Every single person in the workout is uncomfortable. I'm uncomfortable. You should see the thoughts that go through my head, even when I'm filming a video for you guys, right? Like the thoughts that are in my head. There's a really funny video that I think Beach Yoga Girl put up about Pilates teachers and what Pilates teachers are actually thinking when they're teaching their own classes. Like they're mad at themselves for choreographing a hard class, and so we're all human, yeah? And that's what I love with Todd, why Todd's willing to come on camera and do the Bar for Men classes, because he's a beginner at bar. In this new Bar for Men class that we've just dropped, I talk about that. And he's not a beginner when it comes to yoga. He's far more advanced than me when it comes to yoga, but he's new to bar. I've been doing bar for almost 10 years. He's only been doing bar for a couple months. And so I love having him on the camera and him allowing me to show you guys, adjust him and to show you guys, what that looks like, what that evolution looks like. Never compare your chapter 1 to somebody else's chapter 10. Your value as a human being has absolutely nothing whatsoever to do with what you do on your mat, what you can do athletically. All we're doing with these workouts is using the workouts as a tool. They're just a tool to understand our energetic body, to understand our shadow work, to understand what's going on in our psyche, to face things about ourselves that we don't like, that to get closer to God. That's all that we're doing with this. No, we're not getting paid. We're not athletes. We're not going to the Olympics. So you have some freedom there. You have freedom to be messy. You have freedom to be weird and to just do what you want to do in that moment, as long as you're sweating and you're breathing and you're doing the spiritual work. I hope that makes sense. If you have any questions about modifications or anything beyond that, if there's still something you want me to clarify regarding injuries or sicknesses, let me know and I'll be more than happy to work with you. If you are struggling with something and you need modifications specifically for an issue that you have, you can contact me. I can Zoom with you privately and we can look at modifications for you specifically in this time. Now, again, as I started off saying, with the alignment, I tell you where to place your feet and your weight over and over again so that you start to understand the alignment. So you can self-adjust. You can find your own blind spots because I'm not there to do it for you. Hopefully one day we will have retreats where I can meet you guys in person and really work with your bodies in person to help reset you. But that, keep your eyes out. Hopefully that will come in the future. One other thing, we're going to switch gears quickly. And one of our beautiful students asked this, Isabel asked this, and I covered it in a private call, but I do think this is a very valuable question that a lot of people have that she asked. And so I'm going to talk about it here openly on our YouTube channel, just for anybody who listens, whether you're a student of ours or not. And this is weights with women. So we get this a lot. A lot of women are very afraid to lift weights because they do not want to get bulky. And I get that. I totally understand that because I don't want to be bulky either. I'm a woman. I love being a woman. I definitely want my boyfriend to be bigger than me. I find that to be attractive, to have a man that's got strong arms and a strong chest. I don't want to be stronger than my boyfriend, right? Like I don't want that. Even though I'm pretty fit, I don't want to be stronger than my boyfriend. And so I understand that is something that most women fear. And so I'm going to answer this publicly for you guys. So in the bar fusion classes, you don't have to use weights. If you don't want to, you can just use your arms and your own resistance. That's totally fine. But the weights that we do use, if you opt to use weights, and this is true for men and women, are light weights. For me, I can go up to 3 pounds, but I'm happier at 2 pounds. My body responds better to the work when I'm using 2 pounds. And for men, Todd uses anywhere between 3 and 4 pounds. They're light weights in bar, specifically because bar is not strength training. Well, it is strength training, but not strength training in the sense that you're like deadlifting. That's what I meant to say. It's not a deadlift, right? So if you go into an actual strength training class, which we do have on our platform, you're going to be working with heavier weights. And that is because you're doing things that are almost like a deadlift. The body is going to be positioned in a very different way in order to force the energy to lift that heavy weight. And that's different than what we're doing in the bar fusion classes or the bar for men classes. So the bar fusion and the bar for men classes, when I say bar, I'm talking about bar à la terre. So bar, B-A-R-R-E. So the ballet bar, that's what I'm talking about. So that already gives you the information of what this class is about. The main inspiration for bar classes is dance, right? That's the main inspiration. It's not totally like a dance, and a lot of ballerinas have put many videos up talking about the differences between bar and ballet. Bar, from what I understand, was created as a workout, was created in like the 1950s, I believe, with a European ballerina who was dealing with injuries, what we were talking about earlier. And so she created a program using the elements of ballet to target specific muscle groups to strengthen her injuries, which when I found that out, that explained to me why bar healed me so quickly with my sacrum. Bar healed me quickly. I healed very quickly. It's because that workout was originally created as a physical therapy for dancers, and now it's exploded. It's one of the best workouts that I personally think that you can do. It's changed my body. Todd, he has an interview. He's been doing bar now he used to laugh at me and tell me I was just dancing around until he started to do it. The first week Todd did bar consistently, he dropped 9 pounds in 1 week. because what it does is it's working with the little, the accessory muscles, the smaller muscles, which we don't really think about. You know, when you think about muscles of vanity, you're thinking about the, you know, six packs and the biceps and the deltoid and the triceps and maybe, you know, the glutes, the quadriceps. We're not really thinking about the adductors or the transverse abdominis. These are muscles that are small, especially the transverse abdominis. That's a muscle that runs like a cumber belt over your stomach. And it's not a vanity muscle. It's a deep muscle. It's one of my favorite muscles. It's so deep in the body. And that's what we're really working, is that transverse abdominis. And that transverse abdominis is a muscle that is both pranic and aponic. So it helps with the body. It helps the body move energy up, and it also helps the body move energy down. So any person watching right now, any lady watching right now who's ever had a baby naturally, your transverse abdominis was one of the main muscles that was used to push the child out of you. Everybody watching right now, you've all gone to the bathroom. Your transverse abdominis, you feel the contraction in your stomach, or even when you've maybe thrown up and you feel that contraction in your stomach that's pushing everything up. It's the transverse abdominis. It's the same thing. So again, the transverse abdominis is not a vanity muscle. It's not a muscle you see on the base of your skin. It's a deep muscle. But in order for us to have like a strong six pack and to have a flat stomach and a strong spine, we need a strong transverse abdominis. And that's one of the main things that the bar works, along with the abductors. The adductors are in your inner thigh. So how you put a ball or a block between your inner thighs is you're triggering those adductors. And those adductors are tiny little muscles. And a lot of times what happens in leg work is that the quadriceps will start to take over. Now, there are times that we want the quadriceps. We want to feed the quadriceps. We want to make sure that they're strong too, but we also want to give the adductors time to also get strong, because these are tiny little muscles, but they're super mighty. And the abductors run up into the pelvic floor, which is the base of the core. So they connect directly with the pelvic floor. So if you're on the balls of your feet, you've got your knees bent, you've got a ball or a block in between your thighs, and you're squeezing that block, you most likely are also feeling a contraction in your stomach. It's working together. The system is working together, okay? So when it comes to make a long story short, when it comes to weights, when we use like 2 pound or 3 pound weights, what we are doing, with all that being said in bar, is we're using the body in a very meticulous way that comes from dance. So we're using these accessory muscles that dancers use that help support the long, lean muscles that dancers often, beautiful bodies. Dancers have beautiful bodies, like yoga people. Yoga people have very similar bodies to dancers because they're long, lean muscles. There's a lot of accessory muscles being used. They're not bulky, right? They're not the bulky big muscles. Those big muscles, those biceps, they're important, but we're really going down to the foundation of the body in the muscular system, working through the smaller muscles. Okay, and so when we use the 2 pound weights, we're able to continue to let the body move in a reciprocal motion. So you have the up and down energy, the prana and the apana, and you also have so a cycling energy as well. That's why we twirl the hips a lot. We're creating that cycle of energy that comes through the 2 nostrils that, that run through Sushumna, that run in cycles. If you look at a picture, it's almost like a water slide going down the body. And so when we're dancing like that, and we've got that in mind, we have to have lighter weight so that the body can support the weight, also while continuing to move within the rhythm of dance. I hope that makes sense. Tell me if that does not make sense, and I will explain it deeper. Now, when it comes to females doing strength training, like non-bar work, when you're doing like a conditioning class, when I do conditioning classes, typically I do 10 pounds. When I film videos for you guys, I use 5 pounds, and that is simply because I want it to be as clean as possible. And sometimes when I use 10 pounds, that's a real challenge for me with mini repetition. So I can get a little sloppy with 10 pounds, which is great for me in my own personal practice. Like I want to be in that place where it's a little sloppy because that's where I have something to work with, as I was just saying. But when I'm creating a video for you guys, that's not, at that point, I'm not the priority. You are the priority. And so I need to make sure that the weight is enough for me to be able to handle it so that I stay clean So everything stays clean and sharp and precise for you because you're trying to mimic me as best you can. You know, I mirror you. So when I'm filming, I always have you start right first because right is the pranic side of the body. And especially when we're twisting, that's the ascending colon of the body. And so we want to twist right first so that you don't get constipated. If you twist left first, you have the propensity to potentially constipate yourself, and we don't want that. We want to work with the natural flow of energy. However, when I'm doing the video with you, I'm mirroring you. So when I call right, I'm actually moving my left, so it mirrors you. And that's why before I film a video, I do a little mini practice myself just to wake up my body so I'm not putting my body into a dangerous position as well. So there's a lot that goes into that, needless to say. But when I do deadlifting, when you're in a conditioning class and you're lifting heavier weights, your body is really stable as you push the weight. Now, again, for women, you can also do, I highly encourage that you also do classes or workouts that do involve deadlifts. All of these exercises that we offer, all these classes on Fusion Body Studio are all valuable. They're all different, but they're all valuable. Every tree in the forest is different, but it's all reaching for the same light. And the job of you, the student, is to create a week of workouts that's going to serve you the best for that week or for that day or for that month, depending on the season, depending on, for women, where you are in your cycle, depending on where you are in your life. There's so much that go into that, but it's up to you because you are in your body to figure that out for yourself. That's why we have the course, The Alchemy of Movement, where I go through this in a deeper way so that you understand what is actually happening physically and spiritually and mentally in every single style of workout, from aerobic to anaerobic, all that kind of stuff, so that you are more knowledgeable. Knowledge is power. Knowledge protects. When you have the knowledge, you can then make better choices for yourself. And so that's why we try to educate you guys on that. So all of these workouts are valuable. And I do suggest women, conditioning classes are not my main, that's not my main form of work. My main form of work for myself is Ashtanga yoga and bar. But occasionally, maybe like once a week or once every 2 weeks, I will do a deadlifting class, just to trigger my muscles in a different way. Because sometimes when we take a different class to trigger our muscles in a different way, it will shock the body into a different response. Same thing with like running. People who run every single day, sometimes their cortisol levels get out of hand and they start to swell. But if you only run like once a week or once every 2 weeks, it shocks your body into that flush response, which we're going to talk about in a minute, that flushing, where maybe you wake up the next day and you feel really skinny, you feel like you're not inflamed. It's because you shocked your body, but doing it too much is going to have the opposite effect. And so we want you guys to be educated, and every single human body is going to react slightly differently. And so that's why it's important for you to understand your own body and your own patterns, all that kind of stuff. So again, with women, the reason why I want to talk about this, and I know I'm making a short story long, women, you're not going to bulk up. For a woman to bulk up like a man, it takes considerable effort. So women who do like the muscle shows, I forgot what they're called. I don't know if that's what they're actually called, but where they go and model, they're very muscular. Sometimes they look like they're developing more of a man's body. That takes a lot of considerable effort to get to that point. And I'm not talking about doing an hour weight class a week. I'm talking to these women, this is their job, they're competitors. They're in the gym like 8 hours a day. And they are specifically working one-on-one with a trainer to get their body to do that. And it takes if you are a woman, you were born with an XX chromosome. If you are a man, you were born with an XY chromosome. This is automatically going to set you up to be very different hormonally, very different chemicals running through the body, estrogen versus testosterone, all that kind of stuff. We also look at the skeletal system of a man and a woman. Skeletal systems for men and women are very similar, besides a couple of places. One of those places is the collarbone. The collarbone of a woman is going to be a little bit more swooped. It's gonna curve more. Men, it's gonna go straight across more. And the pelvic floor. Archaeologists can definitely tell a difference by looking at the pelvis, the hip bones of the body. Men have very narrow hips. Women, their hips, the femur bone of a woman can sit a little bit more externally rotated because our hips do move. Our hips have the capacity to move. Even if you've never had a child, you might notice even during the month that your cycle, like when you start your cycle, your hips might feel a little wider. And that's because your body is in an aponic flesh, and so the hips are moving out. And that creates a different chemical reaction in the body. Women are aponic, men are pranic. So aponic, again, moon, that's downward energy. We have babies. That means that our legs are stronger than our arms. That's why women have smaller upper body and a bigger lower body. We're aponic, okay? Men are pranic. So that's why a man has a bigger chest and smaller hips. His energy is going up. Our energy predominantly goes down. We have both in our body, like men also have apana and women also have prana, but we are dynamically pranic or apana. A man resets his hormones every day. A woman takes a full month to reset her hormones. Okay, so that's another difference. So for men, they are genetically created by their hormones, by their chromosomes, by their skeletal system, by having the XY chromosome. They are genetically created to have bigger arms and a bigger chest. That is their genetics. And so for a man to get bulky, it's not going to take as much effort, right? It can take an hour or two at the gym a day, and that's it. And they're going to get swollen and, swole as they say in the gym, and they're going to get big muscles. For women though, when you bulk up as a woman, you are going against the natural rhythm of your biology and your anatomy and your physiology. Okay. So that's why I'm telling you, you're not going to accidentally bulk up. That's not going to happen at all. It is going to take a lot for you to actually get that way. And it's going to be purposeful. So if you wanted to bulk up like a man as a woman, you're going to have to go to a trainer and tell them specifically what you want. And they are going to have to literally figure out a way to get your body to work against its natural, chemical, hormonal, physiological, genetic makeup. And so with that being said, which is fine, if that's what you want to do as a woman, do it. But for women who are afraid of looking like a man, don't be, because you're not accidentally going to have that happen. Your body is set already in a natural way. And so you have really nothing to worry about. When it comes to the most that's going to happen to you is you're just going to tone up, and you're especially using light weights like in bar, you're going to end up having long, lean muscles that are very feminine. I feel like my body still is very feminine. I have a very strong body, but I feel like it's very feminine, and I want that. I want to have like hips as a woman. I want to have toned arms, but again, I don't want my arms to be bigger than a man's. I want to have a flat stomach, but I'm not super worried about it being like chiseled like a man's, because we're supposed to be softer. We have breasts for a reason. They feed babies. Our stomach bloats easier because we have a uterus. There's all these differences. And I know that for men, I don't think a man wants a woman, straight men that is, want a woman that's going to be, more muscular than him. I think men like being able, I don't want to speak for men, but I think most of them like to be able to want to feel like they're stronger than their partner. And so for all the women out there, don't worry about that. Please don't worry about that. Your body, trust your body. It's not going to betray you in that way. It's going to take you actually actively changing your body for anything like that to happen. All right. So I know that was like a long explanation, but hopefully that helped you guys. Now I want to switch gears and talk about our 2 new videos that we've just dropped here on Fusion Body Studio over on our website. The first one that I've done, because this is November 2025, and we are coming up in the United States to Thanksgiving. And then, of course, right after Thanksgiving, we have Christmas. It's crazy for the Americans. I know we have a lot of people from other countries, but for the Americans, man, this time of year is so hard for us. I mean, it's fun. It's my favorite time of year. It's fun. People are in good moods. The weather is crispier. It's not as dauntingly hot for us down here in the South. But Halloween, so the end of October all the way to like January, is a hectic time for the Americans, because we have Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas. And Thanksgiving for us in the United States is just like Christmas. It's a huge holiday, just like Christmas. It's a major holiday, and that's a lot of food. That's a lot of foods that we don't normally eat. Heavy foods, heavy creams, heavy cheeses, a lot of alcohol consumption, a lot of sugar consumption. And for me, I feel like, you do you, but I also feel like you shouldn't miss out on that, because that's part of being alive. It's part of our culture, and culture, it's fun, and it's only once a year that this happens. But because of that, so many people get sick over the holiday season. So many people end up kind of depressed. Their body is bloated. And so I did a Rebound Core, 45 minutes Rebound Flush Core episode. And I did it again because of the holidays. However, it can be done anytime. It's not specifically a holiday class. Anytime you feel like you need that flush, to get your body to have a huge cleanse, this is a good class for that. All of our flush classes are good for that. That's what they're for, is to literally flush you. That's why they call them, they're high cardio, but that's why they call them flush classes. So this one's a cardio flush core rebound class. It's a 40-minute class. So let me give you guys some information as to why cardio exercise helps your digestive system. Cardio exercise like walking, jogging, swimming, or cycling can significantly improve digestion and overall gut health through several interconnected mechanisms. One, it stimulates blood flow to the digestive organs. During cardio, circulation increases throughout the body, including to the GI tract. And this is because cardio is aerobic. It uses oxygen as its source of energy to give you that energy, that power to do it. And the heart and the lungs work together. So as you're stimulating the oxygen, using the oxygen as power, it's also stimulating more blood flow. And your blood, my friends, the blood coursing through your veins right now, that is the most potent elixir when it comes to healing your body. In fact, tight spots on the body usually is an area where there's not a lot of blood flow. So if we can open the body up, get the body nice and hot and sweaty, we're going to allow the blood to increase its mobility and its movement through the whole body, healing things, also helping with the detoxing, not just through the digestive system, but all through the fascia. The fascia is like one of the biggest detox organs on your body, which is why you sweat. So with the digestive organs, it enhances nutrient absorption by improving oxygen and nutrient delivery to the intestinal lining. It also helps maintain the health of the gut mucus, which is vital for digestion and immune system defense. 2, it improves gut motility, which is what prevents constipation. Intense cardio, especially walking or light jogging, helps stimulate peristalsis, which is the wave-like muscle contraction that moves food through the intestines. This means less bloating, less gas, and less constipation. Even a brisk 10 to 15 minute walk after meals can significantly improve bowel regularity. It reduces stress and the gut-brain tension. The gut and the brain are connected through the vagus nerve and the enteric nervous system. Stress disrupts digestion, causing symptoms like IBS or indigestion, while cardio exercise reduces cortisol if your cortisol is not already high. Only if you already have high cortisol, it's going to increase the cortisol, so you need to check your cortisol levels. And it activates a parasympathetic system, which is a rest and digest mode. It helps normalize gut-brain signaling, improving digestion, appetite control, and gut comfort. 4, it supports a healthy gut microbiome. Regular cardiovascular activity has been shown to increase microbial diversity, a sign of good gut health, encourage growth of beneficial bacteria, which can improve digestion and protect against inflammation, and it can decrease populations of harmful bacteria that contribute to gut imbalance. 5, regulates digestive hormones. Exercise influences hormones such as the hunger hormone and the fullness hormone. This can help regulate, so cardio can help regulate the appetite and ensure proper timing of digestion and absorption. 6, it helps maintain a healthy weight. Cardio supports energy balance and helps prevent metabolic conditions like insulin resistance or fatty liver tissue that can slow digestion. A healthy body composition keeps the digestive system functioning efficiently. So I also want to talk about the connection to the pelvic floor and digestion. So this is not just about the cardio, this also gets into more of the bar work as well. And so when we're working though with the cardio in this new rebound core flesh class, I'm doing a lot to also trigger the pelvic floor. So this information is good for both the cardio rebound class and all of the bar classes. So the pelvic floor and digestion are deeply interconnected, even though people often think of the pelvic floor only in relation to bladder or sexual health. What is the pelvic floor? The pelvic floor is a group of muscles, ligaments, and connective tissues that form a hammock at the bottom of your pelvis. These muscles support the bladder and the urethra, the uterus and the prostate, the rectum and the anal canal. They work in coordination with the abdominal muscles, diaphragm, and deep back muscles, together also called the core canister, to control pressure and movement within the abdominal system. And the pelvic floor is where mulla bandha is. So that contraction in the pelvic floor is energetically mulla bandha. So as I've said many times before, so many people like to talk about the chakras. Chakra. If you don't know what a bandha is, then you don't even need to be starting to even look at your chakras, because your chakras cannot exist. They cannot function with life force if you do not have your bandhas. Your bandhas are that lock. It's like a dam. If your bandhas are not locked in the perineum, if they're not strong in the perineum, all the energy in your chakras are going to leave your body. So we first have to build the foundation of the body, have a good, like a house, you have to have a good solid foundation in order to support the chakras, right? If you had a house and you didn't have a front door, your front door was just wide open, anything can come in and out. But to protect the house and the people living in the house, you have a door with a lock. That's your bandha. That's your bandha. That's why exercise is the foundation of spirituality. If you are not exercising, then you do not have a strong pelvic floor. And if you do not have a strong pelvic floor, there is absolutely nothing you can do to balance your chakras because you have nothing to support them. Okay, let's continue. How the pelvic floor affects digestion and bowel movements. The pelvic floor muscles wrap around the rectum like a sling. When these muscles are tight or uncoordinated, they prevent stool from moving out easily, leading to constipation, straining, or a sense of incomplete emptying. When they're too weak, stool can pass too easily, contributing to leakage or urgency. When you breathe properly, the diaphragm moves down as you inhale. The pelvic floor lengthens and relaxes slightly to accommodate the pressure. On exhale, both gently lift and contract. So that's what hatha is. So people in the United States like to say hatha yoga. It's not hatha yoga. Let's have a little bit more respect for India. It's hatha yoga, hatha. It's not English. This is Sanskrit. Sanskrit, the TH doesn't make the th sound in Sanskrit. So it's hatha yoga. And this means sun, moon. Hatha, sun, hat, sun, ha, moon. So sun, moon, prana, apana, inhale, exhale. So hatha yoga, I get so annoyed because you see in these dumb little yoga studios where they obviously don't have educated teachers, where people will have a hatha yoga class listed on the schedule. What is that? What is that? That's nothing. All hatha yoga means is exercise. That's all it means. Running is hatha yoga because yoga is mental focus, hatha yoga, mental focus with breathing. That's what that means. That's a translation of that. Yoga is a one-pointed focus of mind. So an active meditation. So any type of exercise that is increasing the inhale and the exhale. So exercise, swimming is hatha yoga. Dance is hatha yoga. Bar is hatha yoga. Cycling is hatha yoga. Yoga is hatha yoga. Okay, so that's what that means. That's what we're talking about here. The working with the breath, the two nostrils, the Ida and the Pingala, that's are moving through that cycle of energy through the body. The rhythm is crucial for moving food and gas through the intestines, preventing bloating and reflux, supporting a healthy wave-like motion of digestion. impacts the gut-brain axis. The pelvic floor has dense nerve networks connecting to the vagus nerve and sacral nerves, both part of the gut-brain communication system. If the pelvic floor is a chronic tension or pain, the body may stay in a stress response, which inhibits digestion because you're in flight or fight mode, reduces intestinal blood flow, triggers or worsens IBS, bloating, and abdominal pain. So if you're in a nervous and anxiety state, exercise helps with that. It helps relax the nervous system. 4, supports pelvic organs and intestinal alignment. A strong functioning pelvic floor provides a stable foundation for the intestines, preventing rectal prolapse, which is part of the rectum slipping out of place, pelvic organ descent that can distort the colon and cause constipation. This actually happens a lot with aging. And even though we don't want the body to be flexible, we want the body to be mobile. Mobile is the combination of strength and flexibility. We do, in fact, want the vital organs to be flexible, because when the vital organs are flexible, then you are younger. And that's why we do a lot of twisting when we practice that. So we do back bending because it's massaging those vital organs. All right, you guys, so I hope that makes sense, and I hope you guys give our new video, our core flush video, a try in all of our videos, because this really applies to literally all of our videos as well. Now let's talk about the new Bar for Men class that we just dropped. This new Bar for Men class is a 30-minute class. So the core rebound class is a 40-minute class. The second class is 30 minutes. And what I had Todd do is I had Todd, who is a beginner with bar, he's a beginner, I had him tell me the moves that he feels like as a man has really helped him these last few months since he started bar. He gave me a list of everything that he really likes, it's really beneficial to him, and I wove it together into a class. So this class is partially designed by Todd. Now again, bar is a practice that is mostly marketed towards women because it's based from dance. However, men have a lot of benefit using bar as well. We have 2 different playlists at Fusion Body Studio. We have Bar Fusion, which is more of the fusion, the dance, very high energy, very feminine. Men can do that as well. But we also have a new playlist called Bar for Men and Women, but it's more geared towards the masculine build of a man to help men feel more comfortable doing a workout that's predominantly marketed towards women. So bar is great for men because it helps build deep functional strength. So bar training uses isometric contractions, which means holding muscle under tension without movement, and high rep, low impact movements. For men, this targets stabilizer muscles often neglected in traditional weight training, like the hips, the glutes, the rotator cuffs, the inner thigh or the adductors, and the deep core or the transverse abdominis. It helps develop joint integrity and tension resilience, reducing the risk of sprain and injury. It creates balance that translates to better performance in sport and in weightlifting. For example, a man who can heavily squat a weight might still struggle hold a bar play position because bar demands fine motor control, endurance, and balanced strength. And these plays and this second position stuff is really, funnily enough, is what Todd said had benefited him the most. And that's what they're talking about here. As a man, it gave him a chance to work on these more accessory muscles that have made him stronger. It enhances mind-muscle connection. Bar emphasizes precise alignment and muscular awareness, often working muscles in micro movements. This helps activate underused muscle fibers, especially in the glutes and lower abdominals. It improves neuromuscular control, the foundation of power, agility, and coordination. It corrects asymmetrics caused by dominant side overuse in sports and in lifting. It improves mobility, flexibility, and posture. Men might have tighter hip flexors, hamstrings, and shoulders, often from sitting or having lifting without balancing flexibility work. Bar incorporates dynamic and static stretches that open the hips and lengthen the hamstrings, which improves stride and lower back control, increase spinal mobility, which improves posture and core alignment, and reduces stiffness that limits range of motion and strength and endurance training. It also helps to balance hormones. So men who are struggling also with their hormones as they age, the combination of breath work, muscular control, and stretching promotes parasympathetic activation, calming the nervous system. This can help lower cortisol, which is the stress hormone. It improves testosterone regulation and sleep quality. It reduces chronic tension, especially in the hips, shoulders, and the jaw. And for men of a certain age who have erectile dysfunction, this will also help with that too. So if everything else doesn't entice you to come try this work, maybe getting your intimacy back will. All right. It complements strength training and cardio training. Barre fills the gaps between heavy lifting and yoga. For men who already lift or do HIIT, it enhances balance and coordination, which is the key for agility and endurance. Core endurance, holding stability through fatigue, and muscular symmetry, training smaller stabilizers that support larger muscle groups. That's why many NFL players, dancers, and martial artists cross-train with barre or Pilates. It helps keep their bodies powerful yet adaptable. And so you guys, I hope that you join us over on Fusion Body Studio. Even if you're not interested in joining our studio, I hope that this information helped you in your own workout program. If you use my name, Brice20, BRICE 20, all caps at checkout, in the link below, you can get 20% off with us for your first 6 months. And on top of that, you also get 7 days for free. So you get 7 days just to try it out, to try these new classes out, see if you like it. And if you don't like it, you can cancel before the 7 days and your card will not be charged. You can also, for those who are interested, if you want to gift a membership to Fusion Body Studio for Christmas, please contact us and we can work that out for you. You can email me at esotericatlanta@gmail.com or reach out to Paula through the platform. All right, you guys, I hope you're having a wonderful day and I hope that you keep sweating and keep working on yourself. If you don't have your health, you literally don't have anything. You are the med bed. You are the power of health. It's just you doing what your body came here to do. It's hard, it's uncomfortable, but it is absolutely worth it. And just because it's hard doesn't mean it can't be fun. We have a lot of fun over on Fusion Body Studio. Our next live class with me is going to be on Sunday, November 9th at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. This is a live class. We're actually going to be workshopping the barre fusion. We're going to look at the intensity of barre fusion. We're going to look at the alignment. We're going to be talking more about the pelvic floor, about the bandhas, about the energetic body, the breathing, all that kind of stuff. So we're really going to just rip the practice apart so that we have a better understanding. And you yourself as a student will have more autonomy and self-governance in your own work. All right, you guys, have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you very, very soon.